Hi everyone, good morning.
Good morning, sir. Good morning.
Right, so we have 14 participants that have come in. Let us wait for a few more minutes and then we will start. Any questions, anybody, anything you would like to tell me, ask me before we start with a new topic today? Good morning, Rishi. Anyone, any questions?
Hello. Hello. Hello, sir. Can you hear me?
I'm sorry, I can't hear you. Is there a problem with my audio or let me just double check? One second. Everything seems to be okay. My audio is okay. I'm sorry, was somebody saying something? Okay, so I conducted a session for IIM Calcutta yesterday for the first years that have come in, just like you guys. And I did a 1.5 hour session for them, just giving them an overview of everything related to Excel, right? So what is formulas and functions, dynamic arrays, uh, how to work with TypeScript and JavaScript, right? How to work with Power Query and Power Pivot. I would like all of you to have a look at this because of a number of reasons. The first thing is that I have introduced many more topics than we have covered in the last 1 week Excel training. Our Excel training was more focused on all of you practicing with me, correct? But this session was more of an overview. There was no hands-on here. Like I was only demonstrating. All the others were simply watching and asking me questions. But then this is a great way for you to know what is the future of Excel. See, what all you're learning right now is, like I said, 70 to 80% of what you will need to do. If pivot, VLOOKUP, right? Conditional formatting. But then what all enhancements will happen in the next few years? If you want an overview, then this is the right video for you to watch. I'm just sharing this with you.
Good morning.
Good morning. Right, everyone? So this is an overview of Excel. And I also did another session with Inside IIM. I don't know if you guys have heard of it or not, but Inside IIM is quite big now. It has been running for a few years, and ex-IIM guys who are now running this channel, and now they have, of course, branched out into different areas. So they have something called Alt Uni. So they're offering courses, right? So they're branching out into different connected areas. The channel has over 2 lakh subscribers, and what they focus on is conversations around MBA, how to get an internship, how to prepare for different types of roles. Then they speak to ex-students, they speak to recruiters, they speak to experts in the industry like me, right? So I did a session for them, not a session for them, but they had invited me for a discussion. And I just want to show you who the other two people are. Okay. So one was Sandeep Das. Sandeep is an ex-IIM Bangalore, and he has worked with a bunch of different organizations. He was also a director at PwC, and now he's the global foresight lead for Mars. You know the Mars brand, right? So this is Sandeep Das. And then we also have Thomas Koruwala. Thomas is the, if you can see, Thomas is running this firm called Arthur D. Little, right? Now, Arthur D. Little is not really probably very recognizable to all of you, but Arthur D. Little is one of the oldest management consulting firms in the world. I think it's 100 years old or something. Yeah. So it started in 1909, right? It's not a boutique firm, but it's not as large as a McKinsey or a BCG or a Bain. So they have about 1,000 employees. If you look at BCG has about 21,000 employees, right? So Arthur D. Little is more niche, but Arthur D. Little is also one of the leading management consulting firms in the world, and he's one of the managing partners, right? So he headed their Singapore office. He's worked right now. He's in Kerala. He's based out of Kerala, but he's he is running Middle East for them. So it was a good conversation where all of us spoke about how to prepare for consulting roles. Now Sandeep obviously acts like a recruiter. So Sandeep goes to different colleges, and when they're recruiting for consulting profiles, that is what he was sharing. What are we looking for in a candidate? Remember what I was telling you last week, that you have to prepare a portfolio, that you need to have a wide set of skills. He said the same thing, that we don't want people who are a specialist in one area. We want a wide set of skills to be there, right? Thomas obviously is the most experienced of the lot, and Thomas has what, 25 years of experience, and very interesting perspective in terms of at a strategy level, how do we meet clients. I just shared one story with you, something that he shared. He said that in consulting, it is very important to have breakfast and dinner meetings with clients. You know, he said all conversations do not happen professionally, you know, in the boardroom meeting or in the office. A lot of conversation are actually closed in a semi-formal setup, you know. So you will go for dinner with the client, and that is where you shake hands and close the deal. So that is what he said, that after COVID happened, it's so interesting because now you can't do those things, right? You can still have the professional meetings, but then that personal touch is not there. And it was so amusing where he told everybody that what he tells his clients now is that let's have coffee together on a Zoom call. So basically, Thomas will be at his home, the other person will be at their home, and they will have coffee together or they have dinner together. You know, basically they match their time. And it's so funny, right? Like when I say it like this, but there's a reason behind it. In the corporate, while your analytic skills and the hard work that you put in, all of those things are great. You know, relationships are super important, and that is where a lot of people have an upper edge. You know, like I'm an independent consultant, all of you know, but I am now winning projects that a BCG or an EY or a KPMG was doing earlier, right? And I'm not vain, right? So I'm not. It's not that I'm too proud to say that I'm the best. Absolutely not. What I'm saying is that I worked really hard to make sure that I'm at a point wherein slowly, step by step, I have reached a point wherein earlier I used to be considered for projects that a big four would be handling, but I would not get the project for a variety of reasons. You know, clients would say you're too small. How we don't know if you're reliable. We trust an EY or a PwC more than you. But now what happens is in corporate engagements, I get the clients with whom I've been working for a while, I get the right of first no. They first ask me that am I willing to handle a project, right? So that's what I'm trying to share with you, that the world has changed. Now, if you want to be an entrepreneur or if you want to work with any firm, you want to be in data, it doesn't matter, you know, what level of background you have, what pedigree you have. Now, you guys are doing an MBA from SRCC, which is fantastic, right? That will give you a lot of weightage in the market. But that doesn't mean that somebody from a tier 2 institute in Allahabad cannot compete with you. Just like you can compete with a student from IIM Ahmedabad, because yesterday I did a session for IIM Calcutta, right? And trust me, they knew exactly the same as you in terms of when I started teaching you Excel, how much you guys knew. They knew the same bit. There was no difference, right? Now there's very little difference between an IIM Cal and you guys, and obviously there's a difference of a few ranks there. If I look further down and I say, okay, now let's look at, like I said, a small institute in some college in some small city, that student also has the correct exposure. That student can also, you know, pay 2,500 rupees, purchase my course from my website, the courses that I've given to you. Of course, they will not get the live training, but they are still getting the courses. And if they work hard enough, they can compete with the big guys, right? So I always tell myself that if I work harder, I will definitely achieve success. But at the same time, I cannot be complicit. I cannot say that, oh, I have so much experience and I have done so much work, so I'm untouchable. Nobody can harm me. It's not like that. There will always be competition, and you have to keep yourself up to date and ahead of the competition, right? I hope I'm making sense. That's why I'm sharing all these things with you, because you guys might not know what is the difference between your institute and Institute A and Institute C. Assuming that you're in the middle, because I work with all types of institutes and I meet students day in and day out, and I obviously work with organizations. I see how recruitment happens and what is it that they're looking for. That is why I'm sharing these small points with you, that you of course have to work hard. There are no shortcuts to that. If you tell me that Saturday and Sunday we did not watch any videos, then there is no excuse, because you have to spend 7, 8, 10 hours watching videos, practicing, asking me questions, correct? That everybody has to do. But what do you do after that? After that, you also have to practice. You have to try different combinations. You have to try to write some articles. You have to make a YouTube video, right? I think that is what will help you set yourself apart from all the other students that are out there. Great. Any question? Anybody? So prepare consulting. I'll just wait for 1 minute in case anybody has any questions, and then we'll start. Right? So when I promised you in the first session, where all of you were so apprehensive that how will we create the presentation, because we have never worked on Excel and Power BI earlier. See, my job is not just to give you a goal and say, I don't know how you're going to do it. I'm teaching you for 3.5 weeks. You have to make a presentation. See, that there's no point, right? If I do that, the point is for me to help you, right? I am happy to hold your hand and answer as many questions as you have, because I want to help you give a good presentation at the end. The point is not that, oh, the session is over, I will give somebody a 5 out of 10, somebody a 10 out of 10, and I will leave. That's not really the point. On the, to be very honest with you, I am more focused on the student who does not have experience than the one who has experience. Somebody who's already good with Excel and PowerPoint, they don't really need me, right? Because I can only help them get better. But if you're looking at somebody who has never worked on it, I'm sure a lot of you have very little experience on these tools. You said you come from a commerce background or you're a lawyer. The point is that you, for me, are more important, because I can make a bigger shift to your learning rather than compared to somebody else. Right? I haven't had the chance to see the queries over the weekend. Let me quickly see if there's any question that has come here. Okay. If we're having two filters in our pivot table, is it possible to get the values in the second filter according to the selection made in the first filter? Let me come back to this. Can we give two filters in a pivot table as options so that user can either choose from one filter or the second? We can have filters on multiple columns applied at the same time, right? I'm not sure if that answers your question or not, but if that is what you're asking, we can. So we can have two filters applied on different columns. So let's say we have a sales column and a profit column. I can say sales is between 10 and 10,000, and profit is between 1 and 1,000, something like that. So just if the question is still not answered, just let me know and I'll answer it. Right? Great. So I'm going to stop my screen sharing now. I hope all of you had the chance to, download a data set from Kaggle, and you had fun, because downloading data sets from Kaggle is not so easy. Some data sets are not meant for not meant for Excel. They're meant for machine learning. Some data sets are very large in size. They might be 1 GB. Some data sets are not interesting enough for you to work on, right? So I'm not sure what your experience was, but if all of you can share that with me, that would be excellent, right? So that when you were downloading data from Kaggle, how did it work out? Anyone?
What are you asking for?
I'm asking you that I had asked you to try working on some examples, right, from what we had learned last week.
Okay.
You all have the courses with you as well. So you have to tell me what you did well, what is the bottleneck, where you're having trouble, because you have been given access to all the recordings, to all the courses. If you don't tell me, then I'm not able to help you, right?
Okay. I want to tell you that I understand some things in the Excel and I'm doing it. I'm still working on it. As I told you that I started from the beginning and I'm getting something from the YouTube too. What you teaching that too, and along with from the YouTube, because I'm very beginner in this field. As I told you, I'm from the law background and
Right,
I don't have much knowledge about PC too, but I'm
right,
working on my second system and I got many things. Even yesterday I was trying pivot table and I was doing well according to my estimate and
sure,
my own evaluation about me. But
excellent,
still there are many things what I have to learn more.
right,
And I used to watch your videos,
right,
lectures on the teachables.
right.
But
So
I'm facing problem in the data formatting. Maybe because
see,
I just
we all have problems with data formatting, right?
Hmm.
So there is no one answer that I can give you that do this and you will never have problems, right?
Ah,
Because there will always be issues. Whenever you're getting data from different places, there will always be formatting issues. The short answer is that if you are having data formatting issues, right? If I understand the question correctly, then you have to make sure that the formats that you have selected. So let me just show it to you this way. Let's say that I have written a date, okay? But sometimes what might happen is that you write a date, which is 12th July 2021, and you might convert that into a number, right? Now, somebody might say, but what is 44389? How do I know that 44389 is a date? And even if I know that it is a date, how do I know that it's the 12th of July? But the point is that you can always go and change it to a date. Let me continue. Let us say that I have written the date and the time also. Okay. So now when I convert it into a number, it becomes 44389.39. Now see, these are more advanced topics, obviously, but it has been covered in my date course. There's a specific course that I have on date calculations. At that point, I have covered all these formatting, right? So you can see that I have different types of formats available. And I can also apply my own format. So I can go to more number formats and I can apply different types of formatting like this, right? See, that is what I'm saying. I love it that you want to go to YouTube and you want to learn. That is what I also do. Most of my advanced learning comes from YouTube, correct? Because I view a lot of experts and their videos. But the point is that you have to first start in a systematic, structured manner. The problem with YouTube is that you don't even know where to start because there are so many videos. And after you spend 30 minutes, you might feel that it was either too simple or too tough, right? That is the reason that I recommend that you should first start with the courses that I have given to you, right? So you will notice that there are 18 courses on Excel that I have. So you start with Excel Bible, where I covered the interface, the different options, right? So you will get very familiar with the Excel application. I'm not talking about writing formulas, right? I'm not talking about making charts. I'm just talking very simply about the application. You have to learn the software. What is it? What can it do? Where are all the options and what the buttons available, right? After that, you go to data cleaning, VLOOKUP, pivot, charts, date. And like this, one by one, you can cover all the other topics as well, right? So you notice that the first 5, 6 things that I've covered are Excel Bible, data cleaning, VLOOKUP, pivot tables, charts, and maybe date functions. So these 6 are the most important thing for you right now. And see, this is obviously never ending. You can keep on doing as much as you want, but then this is where you should start with. And I've already given you access to all the courses. You have all the files with you along with the course. You also have the learning path that has been given on my website. So you have the order as well in which you have to. And see, the order is completely up to you, but I would recommend that you follow this order that I have shared with you. Right?
I'm following this too. What you shared on the teachables, I'm following these videos too. But I'm telling you that I used to go for the YouTube too. Whatever I got at that time, whatever going on in my mind, I go for that.
Sure. See, I'm okay with that. As long as you're feeling comfortable and you feel that every day you're learning something more and you're learning something new, I'm okay with that. The only reason I'm asking you to learn in a systematic manner is that when you learn on YouTube, the problem is that you get distracted. You know, you might find one area exciting and you might spend 5 hours on that one area without realizing that there are many different things that you have to learn. Right? But
I
again, like I
understand.
said, uh, that's your choice and that's your decision, how you're comfortable. But I would strongly urge, see, this is not a curriculum in college where you have to give an exam, right? So I can't force you to learn in a systematic manner, but I would urge you to first do the teachable course because this course will save you a lot of time. It will give you all the basic knowledge. After that, if you want to do even more examples and you want to practice with different types of examples, you can always look at YouTube, right? Even on my YouTube channel, you will find many more examples available. Okay, great. Thank you, Vishal. Anybody else? Anything you would like to share?
So, Havish, I found the same thing that you were talking about, that you are having multiple data sets over Kaggle, and I tried to work with them, but there are a lot of them, right? So, one of them was having like some columns and the data was not complete. So, I'm trying to work with it, but it's not yet completed. So, I'm working on it.
Yeah, so that's why I said it in the beginning, right? That even despite me telling you that Kaggle is the number one, by the way, Kaggle is owned by Google, okay? Even though Kaggle is the number one data repository for data analysts, it's not that easy. People think that, oh, Havish, sir has told us that there is Kaggle and what's the problem? I can just go and download any data set. It's not that simple. Finding the correct data set, understanding the data set also takes a lot of time and energy and effort, right? And that is something you will get better at with time. That is why if you start right now, you will get better over a period of time. If you keep on waiting till the last day and you think, let me first learn everything and then I will go to Kaggle, it might not be the best approach. You know, that's why I'm telling you again and again, please do these things simultaneously. If I was in your place, I will tell you what I would have done. Till last week, we have only done Excel. We have not done Power BI, Tableau, Python. So you don't have to bother about all the other things. There was only Excel. You should have spent at least 5 hours a day working on Excel. Maybe watch the videos again. Maybe practice on Teachable with the other courses that I've given you. But I personally genuinely feel that if you're not able to spend at least 10 hours between Saturday and Sunday, then it's not enough, right? You have to spend time. You have to understand that, right? If you see the quality of case studies that students are preparing, if you go to my website, and I saw that some of you did it, if you download the competition archive from there and you see the even first year students, you know, after 6 months, what they are preparing, you should ask yourself, how will I reach that point in 6 months? I'm not telling you to be scared. All I'm telling you is that make an action plan. You should tell yourself that every day I'm spending 3 hours or 4 hours studying without any gaps. There should be no excuses that, oh, this day I did not do it due to this reason, that reason. During this month, you have no other work. So all the more you should be spending even more time than possible. Even after your college starts, you should spend at least 1.5 hours every day without fail learning. If you're not spending 60 to 70 hours a month on these things, it is too little, right? I'm just giving you my honest assessment because I know how much time it has required me to study these things over 15 years, right? So if you're expecting to learn it in a short span of time in an MBA, you have to make sure that you have to commit to it. You know, you can't take it lightly, right? Great. Just one last time. Anybody else who wants to ask something or share something before we start with Power BI today? Or if you need something from my side, see, I'm trying to help you as much as I can. I'm showing you the YouTube videos. I'm sharing the learning path with you. I'm even telling you how much time you should be spending. Despite that, if you feel there's something else that you want my input on, please ask me so that I can tell you before we start. No questions for now? All right. Okay, so like I said last time, we are going to start with Power BI today. What we have done on Excel is over, right? The job is now for you to start practicing. And obviously, as you practice, you will have questions. You can ask me on the Google spreadsheet and I will give you answers. Or you can ask me any day, right, in the session. But the point is that today we are starting with Power BI, and this entire week we'll be working on Power BI. And whatever we have learned on Excel, in a way, is not being used anymore. There are certain similarities, obviously, like if I want to make a chart on Excel, Power BI, JavaScript, it will be the same. A chart is a chart, isn't it? But then Power BI is a completely different application. So you have to think of this as a new challenge, right? Excel, at least most of you had done some bit of work on Excel. You at least know what Excel is. For most of you, Power BI will be completely brand new. You have not even heard of it. And that is not just for you guys, that is for every other student out there. Any institute, even corporate guys, when I teach at organizations, even they have the same question. They're like, we have never heard of Power BI, how will we learn it? And then I tell them that, no, I am giving you confidence that I will take you through it step by step, right? So don't be worried that it's a new tool. You have to tell yourself that it's a very important tool. It's a must know. So when you're going to apply for internships and placements, you have to know what Power BI is. It is as important as Excel and PowerPoint. Right? Okay, let's open Power BI, please. Is everybody able to come to this page, or are you not able to see it? Please confirm. Do you see a different window? Is it asking you for some information when you open Power BI? Please let me know.
How to open? Can you please tell once again?
Have you installed it?
Yes, but I'm trying to open it and I'm not getting it open.
No, when you say it is not opening, what does that mean? Is the application not opening, or is the screen not coming?
Actually, application not opening.
I don't know, what can I say? The application. Did you try to open it earlier?
I hadn't.
Okay, fine. Let's wait for some time. Maybe it is taking a minute to open. Anybody else? Are you? I hope all of you downloaded it from the website that I shared with you.
I got it.
You did?
Yes, sir.
Great. Others? Anybody else who has an issue? See, you have to tell me. If you tell me what the problem is, I'll give you the solution. Yeah, I'll Siddharth, I'm going to talk about the sign-in. Now, I hope all of you are able to see the screen. In the top right corner, you notice that I have signed in. All of you cannot sign in. And what is the reason for that? Let me just write it down. Just give me a moment. Okay. The reason you cannot sign in everybody is because sign in is only possible with a corporate or an institute account, right? You cannot sign in to Power BI with a Gmail, Yahoo, Outlook, whatever it is, right? It has to be a corporate account, like mine is hmatconsulting.com, Microsoft.com, or it's an institute account. I'm not sure if you have been given email IDs by the institute. Once you get the email ID from the institute, you'll be able to sign in, okay? But we don't need to sign in right now. I'm just telling you that if you tried to sign in using Gmail, it would not allow you, and this is the reason behind it, because you need to have a corporate or an institute account. It cannot be @gmail.com. Okay. Now, in the interface, there are many elements. I will discuss all of that before we start to work on it, right? But before we do anything else, I would request all of you to do a small thing for me. Please go to File, everyone. In Power BI, please go to File, and then go to Options. Click on File and then go to Options. One more time, click on Options, and you will see something called Preview Features. Okay, select everything. I'm highlighting it for you. In the Preview Features, please make sure to select everything. Do not read it. It is not important. Just whatever you see one by one, click on everything. Right, everybody? So you click on File, Options, Preview Features, select all the preview features. And what you have to do then is, please press OK and exactly. You don't have to restart your computer, everyone. Once you press OK, you just have to restart Power BI. Right? So just close Power BI and open it once again. Right? Any questions, anyone? So you enabled all the preview features, you closed Power BI, and then you're reopening Power BI, right? Right? Now let's look at the different components in the interface. I would request if all of you can be on mute because there's some noise coming. Okay, so let's look at the interface, everyone. On the left side, we have the report button where we create a report. Then at the top, we have our tabs where we can make visualizations, we can do calculations, right? After that, we have visualizations on the right side. Then you have a filter pane, which allows you to filter the data like we do on pivot table. And then you have fields here, where you can see a list of all the columns that are available to you, right? Yeah, I am muting everyone, but I'm not sure why it's not working. I would request everyone to please mute themselves. I'm not able to spot who's still unmuted.
It is showing that only your mic is on right now, but still noise is coming.
See, it is definitely not from my end because nobody else is here, but I'm not sure why that is happening. Can't really say. Anyway, let's hope it doesn't happen again. So this is the interface, everyone. Right now, it might seem very confusing because there are many things that are happening, but we will go through everything one by one, right? The first thing that I want to show you is how to connect to an Excel file, right? If all of you can open the file that I have shared with you. In the morning, I shared a file with you, everyone, which is this Global Superstore Orders 2016. Please open this file, everyone. Global Superstore Orders 2016. Okay, now let's look at what we have in the data before we connect the Excel file to Power BI. Now, this is a very large data, much larger than what we have used last week. So if you look at the number of rows and columns, everyone, we have 51,000 rows with us. So it's a very large data. And we have 15 columns with us, right? Let's go over the data column by column and let us see what all values we have with us, right? I have the order date. So I know that on this date, the order was placed. Then I have the shipping date, the date on which the shipping happened. Obviously, the shipping date will be equal to the order date, or it will be after the order date, right? It cannot be before the order date. Beneath, if you want to view the last row directly, you press Control down arrow. Okay, Control up arrow and Control down arrow. See, these shortcuts you will have to learn on your own. What I will do from my side is that I will send you all the shortcuts. Give me a moment. I'm doing it right now. Let me select all your IDs first. Excel shortcuts, okay? So what I'm sending to you is a list of Excel shortcuts. It's a very large file. You can see there are 54 pages and everything has been categorized. So you can find all the Excel shortcuts that you need for both Windows and the Mac, right? So what are the most frequently used shortcuts? Close the workbook, open a workbook, so on and so forth. Now, some of these you would know, but many of them will be new to you. For example, if you want to hide the rows, you can press Control the number 9. If you want to hide the columns, you press Control 0, right? Then there are shortcuts for the ribbon, right? I'll not take you through this. You can go and have a look at it later. But I just wanted to show you how how everything has been given to you, right? Like this. For example, right now, what did I tell you? That you have to press Control down arrow, correct? If you want to move to the last row. So if you notice here, all these shortcuts have been given here. And you can see how you can jump to a specific area. For example, if I want to go to the beginning of the worksheet, I press Control Home. If I want to go to the last cell, I press Control N. Right? Now, obviously, you cannot remember everything in one day, but then little by little, right? Little by little, you take one page, practice it for a few days, get comfortable with it, and then you can move on to the next set of shortcuts. Right? Right. So I am sending this to you right away. Right. Okay, let's come back to the Excel file. So we have the order date, we have the shipping date. I have the name of the customer. I have the city, state, country, region, and market. Which market does India belong to? So if I show you the data, you will see that we have Asia Pacific. So we have Asia Pacific. In Asia Pacific, we have South Asia, right? In APAC, we have South Asia. Then we have India. In India, you can see we have different states and we have different cities. So as you can see, it's a very large data. And we have the data for 165 countries in this data set. Right? After that, we have the product details. So I have the category, the segment, and the subcategory. How many categories are there? 3 categories: furniture, office supplies, and technology. How many segments are there? 3 segments: consumer, corporate, and home office. And finally, we have the subcategory. There are 17 of them, right? And eventually, we have the sales quantity, discount, and profit, right? Just go through it quickly. Tell me if you have any questions about the data. After that, I will tell you how to bring this data set into Power BI and how to start doing visualization on Power BI.
So is the discount given is in the percentage?
Percentage, absolutely. That discount is showing as a number right now, but if you convert it into a percentage, you will see that we have either 0% and we have ranging all the way till 85%. Different levels of discount we give. How is it possible that the sales is 3709 and the profit is minus 288? Is it possible? Yes or no?
So it is showing loss.
Absolutely. So sales simply means that you sold a product. The selling price was 3709, but it is possible that it costed you more money to manufacture and transport it. Correct? Now, you might say, but how is it possible that a business is in loss? It happens all the time, right? It is not necessary that every single transaction is profitable for you, right? Overall, there'll be a profit. So if you look at the sum, you notice that there is a profit, right? There is a profit of 14,67,000, but there would be several transactions that are in a loss as well, right? Okay. Anything else? Any question? Anyone? Just give me 10 seconds. Right. Any other question? Anyone? So the data, as you can see, is very large in size, but it is also very simple. I don't think you will have too many questions regarding the problem with the data. It's already very clear, right? So what I would ask all of you to do is to close the file. Please close the file, everyone. Come back to Power BI. So close the file, come back to Power BI and click on Excel workbook. Right? So you click on Excel workbook. It will ask you to select the file that you want. So this is on my desktop. So I have work in progress, SRCC, final, send to batch, files, week 2, batch 1, and Global Superstore Orders 2016. Take your time, but make sure that you're selecting the correct file. It should be Global Superstore Orders 2016. All okay? So once you select the file and click on open, the file will take a few seconds to get uploaded, right? So just be a little patient. And it will tell you that there is one sheet in the file. You have to select that. It is called orders compact. And you click on load. So all that we have done so far is we went to Excel workbook. We selected the file that we want. From that file, we select the sheet that we want. There's only one sheet right now called orders compact, and we click on load. Right? And once you have done that, all of you should be able to see the data on the right side, like this. Please confirm if all of you are able to see this. Right? I'll just wait for 1 or 2 minutes. In case you're not able to see it or you have any other problem, just let me know. All good? Thanks, Nishya. I hope the others are able to see it as well. All good? Great. I'll just wait for 1 more minute in case anybody else has any issues. Great. The very first thing that I want to do is to show you how to use artificial intelligence, right? So I will call the sheet as AI to ask questions, right? AI to ask questions. And we will click on Q&A, this one. I'm highlighting it for you, this button, right? You have to click on this button and you can just ask questions straight away. So the first question I will ask is, what is my sales? Right? I hope all of you are getting the same answer. If you're not getting the answer or if it is a different answer, let me know and I will help you. Just type, what is my sales? All good? Now, even before I continue, I hope all of you can see how interesting the tool is. I don't have to write equal to sum and then find the sales, correct? Similarly, I can also say, what is my sales for India? So please keep on doing it with me, everyone. What is my sales for India? Garima, it is highlighted on the right side. Q&A. Okay. And if I say, what is my sales by state as a map for India, see what happens. What is my sales by state as a map for India? Please type the same thing that I have typed. I'll also put it on the chat window so that all of you can see this.
Will I get the same result if I just type what is the sales of India state-wise? Like if I type it in that way.
See, it depends, but when you say state-wise is not really the correct way of, I know when we talk, we generally say what is the sales state-wise. So if I write now, in any case, it is not looking at that wise because that wise doesn't mean anything. Does it make sense? See,
Okay,
in a conversation, we always say what is state-wise, what is client-wise, what is segment-wise. But the wise actually right now is not making any sense. So it is why you're getting a red underline because it says that I don't know what is wise, so it is not looking at the word wise at all. But you can do it, right? But you can change the words as well. You can say, what is my sales for each state in India as a map? So it's not that the wording has to be exactly how I have done it. You can change it quite a bit. But then you should always ask yourself, is this something that the AI can understand? Yes or no? Because if you're writing it in a way that is comfortable to us, but that is not a general way of asking you a question, it might not work.
Okay.
Right? And obviously you can change anything. If I say Germany, you notice that it changes to Germany. Right? If I say United States, I get the US. Okay. Now that all of you know what type of questions we can ask, I'm also saving it in a text box. So I'm just going to insert. I'm making a text box and I'm writing this question in so that all of you can go back and have a look at this. Right? Can somebody tell me what other type of questions should I ask? Now that you know what we have in the data, please suggest what other types of questions we should ask. Anyone?
Like we profit in this state.
Sure. That is very similar to what we've already done. Try to tell me something different.
Sorry, discount given state-wise, country-wise?
That would also be very similar, no? Where you're essentially looking at the same thing. I'm asking you to look at other fields. Why are you looking at state? There are so many other things, no? Look at all the other combinations that you have.
We can use continent also.
Sure. But something other than, we don't have continent in our data, by the way. We only have market and region. What about customer name? What can you do with the customer name?
Just alphabet, like we start from alphabet A. Or
why is that relevant?
Or
do I care how many students in this group are starting with A? Not really. What do I want to know with customers?
Distribution of customers across the region or across the countries.
No, say that once again.
I was saying like we can get this, we can ask for the different distribution of these customers across the different region or the country.
That's a good idea. But I think as a business, what else do you want to know? Are all the customers of equal importance? Tell me this.
Yes, sir, like how much quantity did they have ordered, or like how much profit we have?
I'm sorry, your voice is very low. Could you just speak a little louder?
We can ask like which customer is the most valuable one, or with whom we are getting the most profit.
Who are the most valuable customers? Now, can you tell me what is the correct way I should ask the question? See, I can't write most valuable. It doesn't mean anything. How does the system know what is valuable? See, you might say valuable means somebody who is the highest in sales. But that how can the system understand that? So how should we ask the question? Try to write it in a very simple way. No, again, why are you saying most? Most doesn't mean anything. Most is not an objective word, right? Most, what does most mean? Most of my sales is happening in India. Does it mean the 90% or 50% or 10%? Do you understand what I'm saying? When I say most, it doesn't really mean anything. So I will say, who are my top 5 customer name in India? Simple. So it tells me Cynthia is number 1, Vivek, Barry, Laurel, and Amy. And if I say by sales, then this shows you by sales. But if you say by profit, it shows you by profit. So the names have changed now, right? When you interchange it between sales and profit. Please try this, everyone. All okay? Now, what if I don't want to make a chart? What if I just wanted to see the data as a table? So I can say as a table, and it will make a table for me. See, every time you don't want to see the data, very fancy chart. Sometimes you don't want to see it as a fancy chart, you just want to see it as a table. You can do that as well. And what if you want to see sales and profit? Now I can say sales and profit.
Hi, good morning, Yogesh.
Hi. Good morning. Great. Any question on this, anyone? Right. I'm putting the question on the chat window as well, so that you can have a look at this. Who are my top 5 customer name by sales and profit in India as a table?
Sir, actually, my desktop is not able to show these names. I don't know what error am I making.
Have you asked it in the exact same manner that I've done?
Yeah, exact copy paste.
I don't know. Is it working for the others?
Yeah, for the other questions it is.
Yes, sir, it's working.
Okay. What is it showing you? Is it showing you something different, or is it just blank?
Is it blank? It's totally blank.
Can you share your screen? Let's see.
Yeah, definitely. Just a minute.
How can you write the question on the right side of the screen? What does it mean, Garima, on the right side of the screen?
So like you were writing on the right side so that we can have it for our further references.
I made a text box. I'll tell you. Let us first look at the problem that somebody else has.
Okay,
So
sure.
when you click on insert, there is an option for a text box. Just try that. At the top, insert, you have a text box.
Yes, sir, I've shared it.
Yeah. So please type the question now.
Names of the document.
No. What is names? It has to be customer names. No? How does Power BI know that you're referring to customer?
Yeah, as soon as I write outside customer name, it's just showing one.
There must be some bug. Maybe just try to close the file and open it and try once again. I don't really see what other problem could be there. See, these are very new features. So this feature is still in preview. So there is a possibility that there is some bug with it. Also, don't make it what. It's not grammatically correct. You can't say what are my top 5 customers. It has to be who are.
Yeah, it is there.
Great.
Thank you so much.
Most welcome. Right. So everybody, how I'm writing all the questions on the right side is that I went to insert and I created a text box. That's all, right? So that I'm keeping all these questions for reference. So you can practice them later as well. Right? Let's see the question in the chat window. Okay, that's answered. Great. Now let me show you something different. Somebody told me about comparing the order date and the shipping date, right? So I can say, show me sales, okay, by order date and ship date. Now, the problem is that the moment you say show my sales by order date and ship date, it tries to put the order date on the rows and it tries to put the ship date on the column. But if I say as a line, now also it doesn't work. See, you have to understand that number one, the tool will always have limitations. If AI could do everything, then why do we even need people like you and I as data analysts to do anything? Then the tool could have done everything. So anybody can ask a question. That's one reason. The other reason is that it's still very early days. So you notice that this feature is still in preview. If all of you can see this, the Q&A is still a very new feature. So it will get better with time, right? So don't expect that everything will get answered, and we might never reach that point where every question gets answered, right? But if I say, what is my sale? Show me sales by order date, okay? But not by entire order date. I will say by order year, okay? And I also say by order quarter. Now, some of you might say, can we write versus ship year and ship quarter? But it doesn't really work like that, you know, because usually when we speak, when I and you are speaking, we will say, what is my order year versus the, but that is not the way you construct a question, right? So as it stands, don't expect too much from it. It will get better with time. Like I started working on this in 2018, and in 3 years, it has come such a long way. You can't even imagine. Like today, you might be thinking that there are limitations. 3 years back, we had only 10% of these features. It was a very, very simple tool. And then, of course, in the next 1 or 2 or 3 years, it will become even more powerful. But let me ask it like this. I will say, show me sales by order year, by order quarter, for each segment like this. show me sales by order year, by order quarter for each segment. Any shortcut when we ask more information in one go? Puneet, see, you will only be asking one question at a time. You will never be asking multiple questions at the same time. So you will ask one question and then ask another question. Right? And let's do one last example. I will say, show me sales and profit for customer name. What type of chart is this, everyone? What type of chart is this?
Scatter plot.
Exactly. So we are creating what we call a scatter chart, a scatter plot, or an XY plot. We call it X and Y because we have an X axis and a Y axis, right? Please try this as well. Show me sales and profit for customer name like this.
So what if we want this just for India?
Did you say for India?
But then the chart is not coming.
Sure. So what you can do is you can make a slicer. So I can just to give you a teaser, we'll do this later. But if you want to show this only for India, I can make a slicer. In the slicer, we will keep our country, and here I can select the country that I want. Right? So if I select India here, then the data will be only for India. Right? We'll cover this later, but I just wanted to answer your question that this is how you would do it.
All right. Thank you.
Yep. So you can also ask it this way. You can say, show me sales and profit for customer name as a scatter for India. So basically, before selecting India, you have to define that you want to declare that you want to see a scatter chart. Otherwise, what is happening is that if I don't put as a scatter, what does Power BI think? Can you tell me what is Power BI thinking right now?
That we want total sales and total profit for customers in India.
That we want to see? What is it that you said that we want to see?
Total sales and total profit for all
Exactly.
the customers.
So we
in
want
India.
to see the aggregated profit and the aggregated sales for India. Now you might say, but why is it thinking like that even though I've written for customer name? Because it doesn't know that you want to see individual values, right? So you will have to say that as a scatter for India. Okay, so I'm not covering more examples for you because this way we can spend 2 hours on this as well, right? But now that you know the basic idea, you also know that it is not that it's a perfect tool or it is a replacement for all the manual work. It is just a help, right? It is something that saves you time in certain tasks, in certain questions. But obviously, there will be many other things that you will have to do manually, right? So while I have shown you Q&A as the first topic in Power BI, it doesn't mean that it is the most important one. On the contrary, when we work on dashboards for our clients, I don't think I use I don't think I use Q&A in the first 90% of the project. After we have completed the entire project, we only use Q&A as an added advantage to the client. The Q&A is not the most important thing that we present to the client because there are many limitations. It's not as flexible as making a normal chart. Right? Okay. But before we continue, anything you would like to ask anyone? Just take a minute, think about it. Anything you would like to ask?
So I just noticed that if we replace scatter with a pie or bar, everything is changed to the segment we want. It shows a pie then. Yeah.
Even though this would be probably the worst visual to use, but I know I understand your point. Absolutely. Right? You can even choose the type of chart that you want. 100%. Great. Any other question? Any other observation? Anyone? All good? All right. Please save the file, everyone. Please save the file because we want to continue working on it and I don't want the file to crash and all your work to go wasted. So just save it wherever you want. And there is only one file type, PBIX. Right? So I'm saving it in the SRCC folder itself so that I don't lose track of it. Send to batch, files, V2, batch 1 and save. Let's just call it SRCC. Right? So this is how we are using AI to ask questions. Let's look at another AI feature where we use AI to analyze data. Right? So the first one was AI to ask a question. This time, I don't want to ask a question. I want an analysis of my data. Right? So we'll do it one by one. First, make a new sheet, everybody. AI to analyze data. And then you will make a column chart. Very simple. You have the second chart available here, where I've highlighted the column chart. Take your time. We are in no hurry. If you feel that I'm going too fast with any example, just tell me that, sir, don't go too fast, and I will stop, right? Because we have a lot of time, so we don't have to do this in a hurry. Let's make the column chart, right? And we put the order date in the axis. We put the sales in the values like this. I'm highlighting everything for you so that you're very clear as to what we are doing. Order date is in the axis and sales is in the values like this. Right? I hope no questions so far. So we selected the visual, number one. Number two, I selected the order date and we put it in the axis. And we selected the sales and we put it in the values. Right? That's it. Okay. Is there a growth from 14 to 15, everybody? Everyone, is there a growth from 14 to 15? Yes. What is the growth that is there? Can you tell me? So my sales in 14 are 34 lakhs and my sales in 15 is 43 lakh. Approximately what growth are we showing? From 34 when we became 43, we are growing by 9 lakhs. So approximately how much have we grown by? About 25%. Everybody agrees with me. So Rishi, you're saying 25%. So roughly, right? So we know that we have grown by 25%. My question is, can you guarantee that every country has grown during this period? Yes or no? That if the company has grown by 25%, do you know for sure that every country has grown? Maybe not. And that is the question that I have for you. I want to verify whether all the countries have grown or not, or whether it is some countries that have grown a lot and some countries have remained flat and some countries have degrown. Make sense? So when you look at the stock market, the index might be going up, but that doesn't mean that every sectoral index is also going up. Fair enough? Let's see how we do this. Please click on 2015, everyone. Everybody, please click on 2015. Once you click on the column, right click, and you will see there is an option called Analyze. Right, everybody? You select the last column, you right click and you say Analyze. Now, why is it telling you that there is an increase? I did not tell Power BI that there is an increase, right? But this is how smart the tool is. It automatically calculated that there is an increase from the previous year. So from 14 to 15, there has been an increase that happened. Now look what happens. When I click on explain the increase, it is using its intelligence. It is telling me that Havish, there was a 26% increase that happened, which is fantastic. And it is telling me year and state. If I scroll down, year and market, year and region, year and city, year and segment, year and country. This is the one we wanted, right? So when I come to year and country and I click on the scatter chart, can somebody tell me what is the meaning that I can take out from this data? Anyone? What is the meaning that I can take out from this data? What does it mean? When I say that United States is here, what does it mean?
So it means for the contribution from the increase from 2014 to 15, United States contributed the most.
Absolutely. From the change from 14 to 15 was a positive increase because the number is increased. And which country has been the biggest contributor towards that increase? The United States, right? Followed by Australia. And do you see the difference between US and all the other countries? Now, this is a very interesting analysis, right? Because now you say that, okay, if I leave US from the analysis, then the rest of the countries might not have had such a big contribution. Fair enough? Absolutely. So the green means the countries that have had a positive growth, and the reds are the ones that have had a negative growth. There are a lot of small countries here. So you notice that many of them will be in negative as well. Okay? Look at this. Singapore, 12,000 in 14 and only 5,000 in 2015. Right? You can also change the type of chart. So you can make a different chart like this. So I can see the exact change that is happening. But let's do one thing. Let's not look at country because there are too many countries right now. Let's look at the market. Or let's look at the year in market. I think this will be easier to understand. Everybody, do you see this? Which country has had the biggest contribution? Which market has had the biggest contribution?
Asia Pacific.
Asia Pacific. So it's so interesting, no? Because as a country, United States has had the biggest impact. But when you look at it as a market, because see, in North America, there are only 2 countries, rather 3. We have Mexico, US, and Canada. But when you look at a market, Asia Pacific has had shown the biggest increase from 10.92 lakhs to 13.72. And how do I know what is that change? Is it 50%, 30%, 20%? I can just change it to a ribbon chart, and it tells me that Asia Pacific has grown by 25%, Europe has grown by 39%, 20%, 16%, and 23%, like this. Do you see how amazing this is and how simple it is? Like, so far, we have not written a single formula. Last week, we were writing complex formulas, SUMIF, COUNTIF, pivot table, VLOOKUP. We are not doing anything right now. Just by clicking on a few buttons, we are able to do this very detailed analysis. And if you were trying to do the same thing on Excel, I hope all of you can imagine how difficult it would have been. Even if it is possible, it would have been very time consuming and very difficult, right? Any questions, anybody so far?
In the same chart which you opened just now, we were able to see that Asia Pacific is the biggest growth. We can visualize here. But when we go to the first option, first chart, we can see that the absolute value of Europe is the highest.
You mean this one?
Yeah, the first one. Like in the second one, we are able to visualize that Asia Pacific is the highest growth. But here we can see that Europe has the highest absolute growth.
Yeah, see, what happens is, see, if you look at it in terms of the absolute change, we see 3.31 lakhs and we see 2.8 lakhs, right? And what you're saying is that in this one, Asia Pacific is the first one. But this is just alphabetical. It is not in an order.
No, not this one, the second chart.
This one?
Yeah, yeah.
For sure, because Asia Pacific is a bigger market, right? That's why. See, okay, I'll tell it once again. Europe is doing how much? About 8 to 11 lakhs per year. What is Asia Pacific doing? 10 to 30. So the size of the market is bigger. So the market size for Asia Pacific is bigger, but which has shown a bigger increase? Europe. That's why you notice, if I can draw a line here, do you see the difference here and here? Which one is bigger? Europe. Right? But Asia Pacific is still come on the right because Asia Pacific is bigger in terms of the market size.
All right, thank you.
Right? It's a very good observation. The dotted line is basically a line of best fit. So we're creating a regression line. You can ignore that. That's not very important. Basically, what it is saying is that if you project as per the 5 data points that have been given for you, this is the line that has the minimum distance from all the other points. Remember what we did in regression is statistics, where I showed you y equal to mx plus b is the same thing that we're doing here. But this is not very important. You can just leave that part. Okay, and if you like the analysis and you would like to include the analysis in your report, you can just click on the plus sign, and that way the chart gets added like this. But remember, it will only show you 14 and 15. If you want a chart for 14 and 13, what should you do? Anyone? If you want a similar chart for 14 and 13, what should you do? Where should I click and create an analysis? Exactly. So we go to 14, and now I only select 14. I say analyze, explain the increase. Now it will compare 14 with 13. I select the same thing, year and market. Select the same type of chart. Click on plus. And you can see, we get a very good perspective that in the last 2 years, what has been the market-wise change. So I can see that Africa is still at the bottom of the list, but you see USC and LATAM, there's a small shift that has happened. If you notice carefully, everyone, if you look at 13, 14, they were very close to each other. But if you look at 14, 15, there's a bit of a difference. USC has become a little higher than LATAM, and LATAM has gone a little lower, right? Again, if you look at Europe, 13-14 Europe change was not that prominent, but Europe has grown amazingly in 2014-15. So if you see the numbers, you will notice that here from 7,17,000 it became 848, but here from 848 it became 11 plus, which is a bigger increase that happened. Right? Now see, the point of the BI tool is that it will enable you to make a chart like we have done, but the analysis you will have to. The chart is not going to tell you this is the important thing, that is the important thing. It can only highlight everything, but as an analyst, you still have to learn how to come up with meaningful data interpretation. Correct? Beneath has asked a beautiful question. Can you compare 12 and 15? Why don't you tell me, Beneath? Do you think we can do it? Yes or no?
Yes.
How? I'll click on 15. Now, how do I select 12? Which button do I press before selecting 12?
Control. So this X-axis.
Control. If I press Control, then I select 12. So now only 12 and 15 are selected. Now, when I say right click, analyze, explain the increase, it will now only compare 12 and 15. So the first year of my sales and the most recent year of my sales, right? Great. Any other question, anyone on this?
So how did you do that? Can you do that again, please?
All I did was I clicked on 2015. I pressed Control on my keyboard and I clicked on 12 as like this. That's all. If you want to select two columns at the same time, you can press Control and select all of them. Right? Okay. Any other question? Great. Let's do one more. Please duplicate the sheet, or rather the page, everyone. Right click and duplicate. Please right click and duplicate. And I want to call this AI to summarize. And delete this one and this one. Just make the column chart, remove everything else. So AI to summarize. Now this feature is one of the most recent features, so it's still a baby, right? It's still very new. It does not have a lot of capability in it right now, but the promise is there, right? So I would expect in another 1 or 2 years, this feature to become absolutely fantastic. How it works is that if you simply right click, don't right click on a column, just right click wherever you want. And you see there is a summarize option. So everyone right click and click on summarize. What it does is it creates an entire summary for you. So it tells me that, let me increase the size, that between 12 to 15, the sales has gone up by how much? 90%. Sales has increased for the last 4 years on record. And the jump has been from 22,59,000 to 42,99,000, like this.
So this 22,59,000 and this 42,99,000 value, this is for a specific country or
no,
overall?
For the entire data that we have in this. If you want to see the data only for India, then you have a couple of choices. You will either have to apply a filter. So you say that we only want to see India, or you can apply a slicer, which I've shown you earlier. Right? In fact, we'll do the slicer now. Right? So I hope everybody is getting this result. I'm just going to make this a little smaller. Right? Now, somebody asked me, is it for India or is it for the entire world? Now, see, right now it is for the entire world. But that doesn't make sense, right? Because I want to see it only for one country at a time. So what will we do? I will first click on the blank page. So don't select anything, just click on any blank area and make a slicer, this one. So beneath, while Power BI has forecasting in it, the forecasting that is inbuilt is not very advanced. It's just a basic exponential smoothing. But if you notice, Power BI has both R and Python, right? That is why I told all of you, remember, that basic understanding of Python is important. Because you can't be an advanced user of Power BI if you don't know R and Python. But there are different types of visuals available. So if you want to do more advanced forecasting, you can see that there are many forecasting tools available. Let me just quickly show you how it works. You can see that there are many different types of forecasting available. But if you want to use them, then you need to install R on your computer, right? Without R, it will not work. All right, let's make a slicer, everybody. I'm highlighting this for you. And in the slicer, I think you can guess what we want to keep. We want to keep the country. And that's it, very simple. If you want to see the data for India, you just scroll down and you select India. And you see how my chart is also changing and the numbers are also changing. In India, what has been the growth? 124%, right? If you look at, let's say, Malaysia, Malaysia has an 89% like this. In fact, Malaysia is very interesting because there was a decline from 13 to 14, like this. Any questions, anyone? Right? So we have done three things up till now. We have used AI to ask questions. Then we have used AI to analyze the data. We have also used AI to summarize the data. Right? Great. I'll just wait for one more minute and then we will continue. All okay? Great. The next thing that we want to do is to connect two charts. AI, obviously, we cannot do on Excel, and connecting two charts is also not possible. But it is possible in Power BI, and this is one of the biggest strengths of Power BI. AI is a different area, but then the ability of making a dashboard where everything interacts with each other, that is super, super important. Right? So this time I want to make two charts. In the first chart, we will keep my order date and my sales like we did earlier. Please make this, everyone. We'll go step by step. Please make the first chart, column chart, order date and sales value. Right? Now, before we make one more chart, let's also make a few formatting changes. Something I don't like is that there is no border to the chart. I cannot see the numbers as well, and we want to fix that. How do we do it? We click on formatting, right? And we want to add the data label here. So you get the numbers here. And we also want to add a border and a shadow like this. So it looks much better than earlier, right? So please do this with me. We will add a data label and we will add a border and a shadow. All good. So we have a border and a shadow. And now what we want is, just give me 1 minute, everyone. All right. So once you have made the first chart, you can just copy and paste it. Control C, Control V. Just press Control C and Control V. And after you have done copy and paste, you want to remove the order date, but keep the subcategory like this. And make this into a bar chart. Take your time. Just see what all I have done. I'm highlighting it for you. I've selected a bar chart. Then I've selected my subcategory and I've selected my sales value like this. All good? Now, so far, it does not look special. It just looks like we have created two charts. But remember, I told you that we want to connect two charts with each other. And here is the best part. You don't really have to do anything because the moment I click on 15, see what happens? It is telling me that phones is 17 lakh and highlighted is 5.52. Can somebody tell me what is 17 lakhs and what is 5.52 lakhs?
So 17 lakhs is total sales and 5.52 lakh is sales in 2015.
Isn't it amazing? Imagine if you were doing this on Excel, how difficult it would have been. Because you have to create one chart which has the sales for the entire period. And then you have another chart which has the sales for only the last year. And now you notice every time I click on a year, do you see how the contribution is also shifting? Like this? And it just looks amazing, right? It is so meaningful. It is so important for a business to get this information like this. You can also do it opposite. That means that I can select my subcategories and I'm selecting my top 5, everyone. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just a minute. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, can somebody tell me what is 42 lakh and what is 24? How do you interpret this number, 24 lakhs, 92,000?
So 24 lakhs is the top 5 contributor of the subcategory
Right.
in 2015.
So nice, right? And if I do the same thing with the bottom 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, it tells me that my bottom 10 are contributing 11. So that's about 22, 23% of my data. So just take a few minutes, just interact with it. Let me know if you have any question. Remember, you can also select 2 columns by pressing Control like this. So if you only want to see the data for the last 3 years, you can do this. Okay. Any questions, anyone? How to drag and select? You have to press Shift while you're dragging. So if you press Shift while you're dragging, you will select like this. So Control is for selecting one by one. And if you want to select multiple items at the same time, you press Shift. Any question, anyone? You know, this will even work with a map. So I'm just going to make this a little smaller. Right? And where is the map option? Now, I hope all of you are getting comfortable with this. This is the map that we have, everyone. So we have the map here. I will click on the map. And in the map, we will keep our country. No, we'll keep our state in location, right? And we will keep our sales in size. Can somebody tell me what should I do if I only want to see India here? We have done this earlier also. What do we have to create if I only want to see India?
So slicer.
Slicer, right? So we will select a slicer, which is this one. And in the slicer, we will keep our country. Let's make a border and shadow. Okay. So I'm selecting India, for example. So it only shows me the states in India, right? I can also zoom in a little bit. If I click on UP, you see how every time I do that, the sales are also changing. So just take a few minutes and try this out and let me know if you have any questions.
So when I select a country, the whole country is getting blue, filled with the blue color.
Tell me once again, when you're selecting the country?
On the map, sales by state, the whole country is filled with the blue color. These dots are not showing into my system.
You have to put the state in the location, not the country.
State.
Right? In the map. Don't keep the country in the location, keep the state in the location. Is it working now? So let me quickly recap. We have the sales for each year, 12, 13, 14, 15. Tomorrow, I'll be telling you in more detail how you can see the sales for quarters, for different months like this. We're not doing it today, but obviously there is much more that is there in Power BI. We have only done like 0.1% today. Charts can be connected to each other. So when I click, you notice that my charts are changing. If I click on a state, again, the numbers are changing like this. And of course, we have kept a slicer as well, like this.
Sir, can we have multiple maps showing different countries?
As in, you want to show two countries at the same time or two maps
Yes.
showing one country each?
Two maps showing one country each.
You can. For that, we'll be using a filter. I'll show it to you, even though we'll be covering the filter concept later. But I'm just giving you a small preview. I will make a, don't do this, just watch, right? I'll make a map. And what we do here is I will keep my country, okay? No, wait, I'll keep my state in the location and I'll keep the sales in the size, right? Let me copy it one more time. So now we have two maps, and each of them is showing me the exact same data, correct? On the first one, what do we do? In the filters, we will keep our country, and I'll say that the country should only be, I don't know, let's say India. And in this one, again, we'll do the same thing. I'll keep the country in filter, and we will say we want to look at Indonesia.
Okay, got it.
Makes sense?
Thank
So
you.
very easy. It's just that you can't use the slicer for this because the slicer will change both the maps. That makes sense, right? So if you
Got
want
it.
to have different countries on both of them, then you have to use the filter like this.
Sir, I'm not able to see a particular state in the map, like it's showing the whole map.
Yeah. Have you just, let's confirm, you have kept the state in the location?
So when I'm doing that, so like it is showing me some error message.
No problem. Just share your screen. Let's see.
So like it is showing me like this.
Yeah, you have kept your sales in the latitude. Your sales has to be in the size. The sales that you have kept it in the latitude. Just check on the right side. You have to put it in the size. Correct. Right? I think there is something that is missing from our report. What do you think it is? Like if I show this to my manager, what do you think is the first thing that they want to know before deep diving into the subcategory and the year-wise performance? What do you think is the most important thing they want to see? Anyone? If I ask you that for Hero MotoCorp, what is the most important number? What will you tell me? Before telling me employees and product-wise sales and segment-wise in geography, what is that one number? Total sales, isn't it? Can you tell me the total sales by looking at this? Is it visible anywhere? Guys, for United States, I can see the sales per year. I can say 4.8, 4.7, 6, and 7. So I know it's about 22 lakh, 23 lakhs. But I can't see that number anywhere, right? I want to see the total sales as well. So what do? The last topic for today, we make a card. Please select this, everyone. 1, 2, 3. The card. So we will select the card. And in the card, what do we keep? In the card, we keep our sales value. And that's it. It tells us total sales is 2.3 billion or 23 lakhs, right? Just keep it wherever you want. And now when I select any country, you notice that that number is also changing. Right? So we'll finish off with this example. Just make sure that all of you have managed to do everything that we have done so far. If you have got left out anywhere, please let me know and I'll cover it for you. Right? Any question, anyone? All good? Great. Anyone else? Anything you would like to ask? So let's quickly revise what all we have done today. We connected to an Excel file. So we went to, in Power BI, we went to Excel workbook. We just selected the file. That process was very simple without any problems, right? But remember, Power BI can connect to many other types of data, but that we'll be covering later, not right now. Then we created a Q&A, the question and answer, in which we can ask different types of questions. Then we did the analyze, where we did a right click, and we said we want to analyze the increase or the decrease. After that, I showed you how to summarize the data, which was right click and summarize. Then we connected two charts, actually three charts. So we have a map and two different charts. And we also kept a slicer and we kept a card, right? So this is now looking more like a dashboard that we have created, right? So if I quickly take you to my website, let me close this. I hope all of you can now look at the dashboard and feel a little more comfortable. Last time when I had shown this to you, you must be thinking, how will we ever manage to create something like this? Right? It just seems impossible to create something like this. But now I hope you have some comfort. What are these? These are cards. How are my charts connected to each other like this? We know that also. We know how charts are connected to each other, correct? And how do you make multiple charts? Simple, just make as many of them as possible and automatically they get connected to each other. Right? Great. Any questions before we wrap up for today? So tomorrow we'll continue with the same thing. We have many more visuals that we have to cover, and before we come to calculations that will happen on Thursday or Friday, the next 2-3 days we are going to work on visualizations. Right? So more of what we have done today.
So where I can access the previous week classes?
Sure. Have you not received an email from my side with the teachable ID?
Sir, I logged in the website, but I didn't get the access.
No, don't say you did not get the access. What is the exact problem? Are you able to log into Teachable and not able to see access to SRCC, or are you not able to log in at all?
Sir, I was able to log in, but I didn't have the access. Like, I will share the screen now.
No problem. Hold on. What is your name? Just confirm.
Sir, Rahul Kumar.
This one? No, this is somebody else.
No, sir, not this one.
Tell me your email ID.
Sir, Rahul28.
Rahul dot.
Sir, not dot. Rahul28.
28. That should be enough.
Wow.
That is it. This one, right?
Yes, sir. This one. Yes, sir.
It might have been missed by my side. No problem. I'll do it right now. One second. SRCC 2023. Right? I've enrolled you. You'll be able to find it.
Thank you, sir.
Right. Great. Any other question or any other issue, anyone accessing the lectures or anything like that? All good? All right. So, great. I think we have had a good start with Power BI today. We'll continue with it for the next few days, and then we'll do slightly more advanced topics on Power BI. Right? But let's not worry about that right now. For Monday and Tuesday, at least, we are going to work like this. Right? Great. So, excellent. So, thank you, everyone, and I will see you tomorrow at the same time.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.